flashiest person is usually drowning. Behind every designer bag is often a balance never paid off. You see the car, the watch, the weekend photos. You assume they figured something out you missed. What looks like success is often a costume. That costume is expensive, exhausting, and quietly ruining lives. You earn more each year and still feel behind. You upgrade and the finish line keeps moving. That feeling has a name, and it isn't failure. It's the treadmill, and everyone you envy runs it. By the end, you'll see the chase clearly. You'll understand why looking rich and being rich differ entirely. You'll see a quiet way to step off without feeling like you're falling behind anyone watching from outside. But first, a question worth holding. Why does the person who looks most successful often feel the emptiest? Let's start underneath the upgrades. The story you've been told about rich people is mostly wrong. The wealthy person you know drives something boring. Their house is nice but not loud. Their watch unremarkable. The person posting rooftop dinner photos is one paycheck from panic. The shine is paid in invisible stress. This isn't about judging them. It's about seeing the trap clearly enough that you stop wanting to climb in yourself. Looking rich and being rich require different things. One requires spending, the other not spending. People confuse them. When you spend to look successful, you transfer wealth away. When you build wealth, you stay quiet. The loudest signals of money are paid with money that hasn't been earned yet. That's the secret. Think about the last purchase that made you feel impressive. Notice how quickly that feeling faded into normal. That fade has a name in psychology. It's called the hedonic reset, and it powers the whole treadmill. Your brain adjusts to anything new within weeks. The new car becomes the car. The apartment becomes ordinary. You need another upgrade to feel the spark again. And another. The spark gets shorter each chase. This is why people who look rich keep needing to look richer. The last dopamine hit already wore off. It isn't greed, and it isn't shallow. It's a nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Our ancestors weren't shown 1,000 luxury lifestyles before breakfast. They weren't comparing their insides to everyone else's outsides. You are. That changes everything about how the chase feels, and how impossible it feels to ever arrive. Here's what most people miss. Status spending isn't about the thing being bought. It's about belonging somewhere. When you buy the bag, the car, the address, you aren't buying leather. You're buying a seat. You're buying the feeling that you're not left behind, that the people you admire might admire you back. That's a human need. It isn't weakness and it isn't vanity. It's the instincts that kept our ancestors safe. The modern tribe keeps moving. The price of belonging rises. The table you wanted now eyes a bigger one. So you upgrade. The people at that new table are upgrading too. They feel the same invisible pressure. Nobody at the top feels settled. The view from the top just reveals another ladder behind it. A raise rarely fixes anything. The money arrives, and your lifestyle quietly expands to absorb every dollar. The grocery cart fills with nicer brands and takeout gets frequent. The car payment grows. Vacations get nicer. None of it feels reckless. Each step seemed reasonable and deserved after the work you've been doing. Add it up, and the raise is gone. You're earning more and saving the same with nothing extra. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's invisible while happening. The new becomes the baseline, and the baseline wants more. Meanwhile, the person who didn't inflate kept the old car. They quietly became wealthy without anyone noticing them. That's the cruel symmetry. The people building real wealth are invisible. The performers of wealth are broke. You've been comparing yourself to performers without knowing it. The quiet millionaires never showed up in your feed. Your reference point is bent. You're measuring against people who are drowning, just in deeper water. The game is rigged before you step into it. You're sprinting toward a finish line painted on a wall. Here's a scene. A friend gets a luxury car, and suddenly your good car feels embarrassing to drive. Nothing about your car changed overnight. Same engine, same seats, same reliability. The meaning of it changed. That's comparison doing its quiet work. It doesn't take anything directly. It just changes how you feel inside. That shift starts the chase. You're researching upgrades, justifying the math, telling yourself you've earned it. The payment gets approved. The dopamine hits for 3 weeks. Then it fades and someone else's car appears. The treadmill adjusts to your new pace. You're running faster now and standing in exactly the same place. This isn't your fault. The whole environment is engineered to keep you running. A satisfied customer is a quiet customer. Entire industries depend on you feeling slightly behind, slightly incomplete, slightly like the next thing will fix everything. Once you see that machinery, you can't unsee it. Seeing is the first step off the belt. Let's pause together for a moment. Think about one purchase you made because of someone else's life. Maybe clothing, a gadget, a trip you couldn't afford, something you wanted partly for how it looked. What did you hope it would say about you? Looking back honestly, did it say that for very long? If something comes to mind, share it in the comments. Your honesty might help someone else recognize their pattern. There's something freeing about naming these moments out loud. It loosens their grip, even just typing them out. And it makes the chase smaller in your chest. Smaller chases are easier to notice, easier to step away from. Now let's go deeper. There's a layer underneath status, spending nobody talks about. It explains so much. Much of this chase isn't about the present. It's about a younger version of you that felt small. Maybe you watched your parents stress about bills. Maybe you wore off-brand shoes when classmates noticed the brands. Maybe you had money but felt invisible inside the family. Maybe success was the only language attention spoke. Whatever the story, you absorbed a quiet equation. Looking a certain way meant being safe, loved, finally counted. Now, as an adult with real income, you aren't just buying things. You're giving that earlier version proof. Proof that you made it. Proof the worry, the embarrassment, the smallness is over. Nobody can look down. Proof doesn't fit inside a purchase. The kid inside doesn't care about the brand. They wanted safety. Safety isn't something a watch can deliver. The watch comes home, the kid is still scared, and chasing begins tomorrow. This is why even people who clearly made it still sometimes feel broke inside. The account healed, the wound didn't. Recognizing that gap is powerful. It doesn't mean you stop enjoying nice things. It means you stop expecting impossible fixes. A nice meal can be a nice meal. It doesn't have to prove you're worthy of being at the table. When pressure comes off the purchase, it actually becomes enjoyable. You can taste it without needing it to save you. That small shift changes everything quietly. The thing becomes just the thing again. The chase loosens its grip slightly. Think about who the quietly wealthy people in your life actually are. The ones with a real margin, options, and calm. They're often the least impressive looking at first glance. The plumber with 3 rental properties, the teacher who retired comfortably, the neighbor in the modest house who paid for college in cash. They didn't perform wealth. They quietly built it. Here's what they share. They figured out somewhere along the way that feeling rich and looking rich differ entirely. They chose one. Most people choose the other without realizing there was even a choice being offered at all. You can choose now. Not in some dramatic way. Not by selling everything, just by noticing which game purchases serve. Ask a quiet question before any upgrade. Am I buying this because I want it or want to be seen? Both answers are okay. Nothing wrong with wanting to be seen sometimes, but knowing the answer changes how purchases land. When you buy for yourself, the joy lasts longer. When you buy for an audience, joy ends when they leave. The audience always looks away. They have their own treadmills to run. Nobody watches you as closely as you fear. That sentence is worth sitting with. Most of your status anxiety performs for an audience that isn't really there. The coworker doesn't care about your car. They worry about their own. The neighbor barely noticed your renovation either. You've been spending real money to impress people. They were too busy chasing their own treadmills to look up. That's not depressing. That's freedom. If nobody's really watching, you get to spend on what makes your life feel good. Not what looks good in a photo. Not what reads well at dinner. Just what makes a Tuesday feel calmer. Maybe a small apartment with no debt. Maybe a paid-off car that runs fine. Maybe a fridge full of groceries. These things don't photograph well. They feel incredible to live inside. They give you what the luxury chase never delivers. Sleep is the real luxury of the quietly wealthy. They sleep without math. They don't dread unexpected bills. They wake up and the day belongs to them. No payment is looming. No costume needs to be worn today. That peace doesn't come from earning more. It comes from wanting less, or wanting a little more carefully. Wanting carefully is a skill, not a trait. You can build it slowly, one noticed impulse at a time. Here's a gentle place to begin. Next time you feel pulled toward a status purchase, pause and name the feeling. Not to stop yourself, just to notice. Is this loneliness, comparison, boredom, or a bad day looking for a lift? Just naming it shrinks the urge by half. The feeling wanted to be seen, not solved with a credit card. You don't have to become a minimalist. You don't have to give up beauty or treats that light up weeks. Just stop outsourcing your sense of enough to the people in your feed. They don't have it figured out either. Enough is a feeling you build inside slowly. It doesn't arrive with the delivery. It grows when you stop chasing. And enough has a strange quality once you find it. The volume on every advertisement around you starts dropping. The strangest thing happens when you step off the treadmill. The world doesn't actually punish you the way you feared. Nobody calls and nobody notices. Your old friends still like you. Your life keeps going with more room inside. You start noticing things you missed while running. Coffee tastes better and weekends feel longer. Money becomes real auctions. That's the quiet wealth nobody posts about. It's the kind that doesn't need an audience because it isn't a performance. The chase you've been running isn't a personal failure. It was engineered around you and almost everyone is caught inside. Seeing it clearly is how you begin stepping off. Not with shame, not with restriction, just with honest, gentle noticing. If anything here resonated, take a second to reflect on which part hit hardest. Sometimes naming it is the shift. Drop a thought in the comments if you want. The conversation under videos like this is often surprisingly honest. If you want more of this perspective, subscribe and tap the bell. That way, nothing slips past you again. You deserve a relationship with money that doesn't feel like running. You deserve to look around and feel enough. The people who look rich are usually running hardest. The people who feel rich stopped running a long time ago. You get to choose which one you become. Not tomorrow, not after one more upgrade, just in the next decision. Step off gently. The ground is steadier than the belt. You are already rich in ways you forgot to count.